Anthony Herwig here with a Boardman swim player profile. We're joined by senior Abby Mihawk. Abby, thank you so much for coming on and talking to us today.
Thank you for having me.
Senior year, what's it been like kind of going through this last ride with Boardman and trying to obviously make the most of it? You've qualified for district, so that's one check mark you got. What's it been like going through senior year?
I mean, it's been super exciting. Definitely bittersweet because this is my last ride, especially with these girls I've been with for 4 years. Definitely built some of the closest friendships I have. So, I'm ready to just do it one more time. Hopefully, get to that next level. That's always the ultimate goal.
We talk to a lot of seniors, and everyone's kind of different on how they deal with the mentality of being a senior. Some of them try to live every moment as if they're a senior, and some of them try to put that idea in the back of their mind and not think about it until close to the end. Where are you? How have you dealt with senior year mentally? Have you been trying to take everything in and always know you're a senior? Or have you been trying to kind of not think about the fact that this is your last season?
Definitely, I don't really take everything in. I kind of just go with my normal day, normal routine. And I mean, probably in May, it'll probably hit me that this is it. But I think having a consistent, like, time schedule and everything like that will really help instead of overwhelming yourself with trying to do every last little bit of everything. So.
The other thing about being a senior is you're asked to a lot of leadership responsibilities, just the nature of being that veteran that last year. How have you handled the leadership that comes with being a senior?
Definitely, I think I've handled it pretty well. I was named team captain this year as a senior, and I definitely think I've been a leader since freshman year. Not necessarily on this team, but just overall in general. I'm involved in a lot of different clubs that involve leadership, so I definitely like being a leader, and I like when you see something, say something. I'm definitely that person to go to in that sort of situation.
It sounds like this natural born leadership qualities that have been instilled in you. How would you define your leadership qualities? Like, what kind of a leader do you think you are?
I think I'm a pretty strong leader. I think, like I said, if you see something, I'm the type to say something, if especially if it's uncomfortable. Um, and I don't really like the feeling of being alone. So I know other people probably wouldn't like that. So definitely, if something's wrong, I'd step in and figure that out for them. And it actually helps me feel better about myself.
I know there are some younger swimmers on your team. What kind of things do you do to one lift them up and make them feel like just because they're young they're still a part of the team, but also try to bring them along and try to make them the leaders of the next generation?
Yeah, for sure. So definitely, I know if I'm having a hard day, I know I can't really express that very much at practice because I want them to know that, just staying positive and being in the moment where you are practicing, not thinking about school, really helps play a huge role overall. And hopefully, some of them will be named team captain, and they can look back and say that the seniors from my year really helped where they are today.
I think your answer is a perfect segue into asking, who are some names that pop up to you that you can already see leadership qualities in them, and you're pretty confident that when you graduate, they will be the next leaders of this team.
Definitely junior Allie Murray. She is a really hard worker. She was named team captain this year as well. And I've swam with her for multiple years, actually starting at my club team in the summer. So she's a huge leader and definitely look forward to seeing her senior season. Julia Pickens is also a big senior, big name. She plays tennis, she's in orchestra, she's in a bunch of different clubs. So I definitely see her stepping up and taking a huge role, hopefully a role like mine. And Sam Baiano, she's also very vocal. I think she has some aspects like that I have, where if something's wrong, she will step in and say something. Or if I don't see something on the pool deck or vice versa, she would say something for me. So definitely those three, I think, are huge, huge names.
Now, swimming is a sport that demands a lot of you, both physically and mentally, and the time that you put into swimming. I mean, I don't think people realize that it's 4 hour practices. You're leaving the school at probably like
Mm.
5, maybe not getting back home until like 9, somewhere around there. What keeps you driven? I mean, that's a lot of sacrifice. You have to have something that motivates you to get you through that. What's the motivating factor for you that lets you be able to make all those sacrifices and put yourself through all that?
Definitely my coaching staff. We have a really I mean, fabulous coaching staff. They keep everything entertaining. It's fun. It's enjoyable. The group of girls that I swim with, I mean, even the guys are just hilarious. But they just relate to us on a different level. I mean, if I'm complaining about something at practice or talking about something, there's a chance somebody else is saying the same thing. And definitely my great uncle, he has a prosthetic leg and he bikes marathons on Canfield Hike and Bike Trail just weekly. And I just, if he could do it, then I tell myself that I could do it. So he's a huge inspiration in my life and definitely motivates me.
Let's talk about the physical aspect of swimming and how much it just takes strength and conditioning wise. Like, to let the people know how much work you put in to be able to like put your body through that much work and how much conditioning goes into it. And I think people would be mind blown to learn how much you actually swim in a week, in a month, and do the math in a year. You put a lot of time in the pool. Talk about just the work you do to make sure your body's conditioned and they can handle a long swimming season.
Yeah, for sure. So I actually run cross country and run track. So swim is right in the middle of that. And it's really hard to go from running to swimming, like the conditions on my legs. And then you go from working every muscle in your body. So that's kind of difficult. But we swim about 6,000 yards and it starts right off the bat. Lots of kicking in the very beginning to get our legs going. So my legs pretty much have that strength already from running. So that plays a huge part of it. And then on top of that, we've really started to get more into lifting and stretching out. I think those are really helping us actually grow muscle more as well. And overall, you can see the kids who, once taper hits, the yardage goes down and their times drop because you go from such a high yardage to a lower yardage, and it just works like magic.
6,000 yards, y'all. That's 60 football fields. Just so you can all picture that in your brain how much that is. It's nuts. Your poor legs. My legs
Yeah.
hurt just listening to that. Then the mental side of swimming too. I want to talk about that because you're locked in. It's a team sport, but it's also an individual sport when you're in the pool and you're the only one in your lane, and it's all about just you. You have no one else to fall back on when you're swimming. What's the mentality like of a swimmer, and how have you kind of handled the mental strain that it can put on you as well?
I definitely think the mental part of swimming is really difficult, especially the meet that we just had, the sexual meet. And I talked about having taper. If you aren't fully tapered for that meet and wearing a tech suit, it's a huge mental meet because you look in the lanes next to you and people are beating you, they're dropping seconds, and it's just really hard. But my coach emphasizes all the time, stay in your lane, stay in the moment. You can't change anything around you. So that's definitely hard, and you really have to trust the process and trust your coaches. So if you really don't have those aspects, then it becomes way harder of a mental game. But being able to trust the coaches and trusting the process really helps that I'm going to swim well and is really relaxing later in the end.
Swim, track, cross country. You like racing people. You like the time sports. Is there something about that kind of sport that really you found your interest early and really you love about it?
I definitely like how there are relay teams in those sports, but I like being able to improve for myself. I think that plays a huge aspect in who I am, just always improving, trying to be the best version I can every day.
Now we talked to some of the boy swimmers yesterday, and they were talking about how in practices the teams kind of get competitive with each other. They push each other. The girls the same way. Do you like to compete with your teammates in practice and try to push each other to be better swimmers?
For sure. I've been swimming in the same lane for 4 years, the second lane, which is the A lane, pretty much. I don't, it's kind of hard to explain, but we don't really necessarily have an order of who goes first and who goes last. And even though I made it to state last year, I still was swimming last in my lane last year. And we don't necessarily think one is better than the other, but we like to compete. We like to reverse the orders, stuff like that, to just get our full potential at every practice.
All right, let's get to know you a little bit outside of the pool. You're a senior. Talk about your school life and some of the things that you like to study and some of your favorite subjects.
Yeah, so I definitely like the sciences, more so biology rather than chemistry, figuring out how my body works and stuff like that. I'm actually taking an anatomy class and I really enjoy it because so many questions I can finally answer myself about why this muscle hurts or what happens when this breaks and stuff like that. So definitely likes the sciences. Maths for sure, but they're kind of stressful.
Do you think biology and anatomy have kind of helped you understand yourself as a swimmer a little bit more, knowing all those muscles and what you're using and what you're not using and all that stuff?
Oh yeah, definitely. Especially because I'm more of a muscular build compared to most of the girls on the team. So my practices are kind of different than everybody else, but knowing how what muscle works what, and I actually had a pain last week, and I knew where the pain was and what the scientific name from it was because of my anatomy class. So
School working.
right.
And I never like to word this question least favorite because I don't want to throw shade out at the teachers out there because I know they all work hard. But what was the class that was the hardest grind, the one that you really had to dig deep to get good grades in?
Um, Probably English. I definitely, I'm not an English kind of person, which is funny because my aunt's an English teacher. But I don't know. I just never really, it was kind of hard for me.
Hey, it's okay. Usually it's one or the other. You're either the math or the English.
Right.
Most people can't excel in both unless you're exceptional. You were exceptional in the pool, and you've made it to districts. And I want to talk about that moment. You went to state last year, but it doesn't guarantee you a spot this year. What has it been like trying to reset this year, and now you met the goal of getting the districts, and you have that feeling that you're gonna, you have the next step in front of you.
I think a lot of people try and look over the course of the swim season at the rankings for state. And my brother actually made a really good point. None of it's official. And once the district meet is swum, that whole rankings wipes out because people pop out some really fast times and some underdogs. Like I would consider ourselves some underdogs. I actually have a shirt that says just a swimmer from Youngstown because people don't expect that from us. So seeing the rankings and not looking at those definitely I think helps with the mentality of it. And it's just as my coach refers to it as a glorified practice. We train really hard all year for this stuff, and going into this meet, I'm really not nervous. I'm really excited and see where I could go.
How much do you draw back on last year's, run to state as experience into this year's district? Does it make it easier knowing that you've been there and you've gotten past this round before?
Oh yeah, definitely.
All right, let's talk about, we have to talk about the social media because I was told before this interview that you're the social media intern and you do a lot of stuff with the Boardman Athletic social media. I'm the social media director at YSN, so gotta have to pick your brain a little bit. What's it like to run social media, and what have you learned in being in that world and being an intern for Mrs. Burke?
I definitely love it. I was really excited when she reached out to me last year and wanted to give me the opportunity. And I actually get to connect with her on another level, and it's just someone else where I could go to if I ever need anything. So I really like that. Definitely learned, which we talk about all the time, is you can't please everybody.
Mhm.
So, I mean, I've always known that, but definitely is something I've learned from that. But I'm being creative in everything that I make and do. So I really like that kind of drawback from schoolwork, bookwork, stuff like that. And I get to use the creative side of my brain.
Well, I'll say you do a good job. Boardman Athletics social media is one of the tops in the area, no doubt. So from me to you, tip of the hat. Let's
Thank
talk
you.
about the future after high school. You got some stuff to do before you're done at Boardman, but after you are, what are some goals that you have after graduation?
I'm gonna study physical therapy at an undecided college, which is kind of fitting. That's why I like biology and anatomy, figuring out how that stuff works. So yeah, no sports because I've decided for my own mental sake that I don't know if I could deal with that stress and all that, but I know I'll never be able to leave the swimming world and I'll always be able to run. Stuff like that really helps. And most teams have club and athletic facilities that I could practice in, and so yeah.
Why physical therapy? What made you want to narrow in on that career path?
I definitely wanted to play a role in other people's lives and help. I definitely like seeing progress and other people happy just lifts my spirit. So seeing the progress from somebody having a terrible injury to eventually getting better and knowing that I helped will definitely help me as an overall person.
All right, Abby, we end these player profiles the same way every time. We want to give you the chance to take the limelight off yourself a little bit and thank the people in your life that have pushed you, that have helped support you. So I want to give you the time to give out thank yous and shout outs to the people in your life that you think really deserve it.
Yeah, okay. So definitely my parents. My parents push me and they really don't put any pressure on me. If it's any pressure, it's from myself. My brother, even though he's better than me now, he makes swimming so much better. And my sister, she really inspires me every day to just keep going, keep moving. And even though she's in Florida living her life, she still knows I'm here. So
Man, she must brag about that weather every day in this winter
mhm.
cold. Oh man, Abby, we want to thank you so much for talking to us today. We appreciate your time. We wish you the best of luck in districts and hopefully even further. And we can't wait to talk to you real soon.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.